Hey everyone, welcome to a Goody Reader review video. My name is Michael.
This is Peter.
We have here the new Samsung Galaxy Tab A Nook. This just hit Barnes & Noble retail shelves last week, and we're pleased to give you a full and comprehensive review showing you what makes this tablet different from, say, the stock Samsung Galaxy Tab A tablet that came out earlier this year.
So the device looks like basically every other Samsung device ever made. You have an apps button, a home button, center button, and a back. On the top we have a 3.5mm headphone jack along with a micro USB. On the left we have a micro SD card slot under the door. We have a volume down, up, and a power button. We also have the front camera with the light sensor, and we have a speaker and a camera on the back.
This, if you've ever had a stock Android device before, there isn't a whole lot of bloatware on this.
Right.
So everything here you can pretty well uninstall. So we have here Nook Home, Nook Shop, readouts, and apps. If you click here, this is pretty well where all the Nook branded apps are. And then
the Google branded apps and the Samsung branded apps, so it can get a little bit muddled with Barnes & Noble, Samsung, and all your Google stuff. You're actually dealing with 3 different ecosystems on here.
Well, you know, it's funny because Barnes & Noble used to have their own app store,
Yes.
but they actually canceled it.
Yeah.
They also had their own video store, which they also shuttered as well.
I wonder why.
Yeah, so I think most people, when they download apps, will be using Google Play, because anybody who has an Android device, whether it's for the first time
who's anybody will use Google Play.
Exactly. It just has more content and it's updated more regularly.
Yeah.
So, okay. So those are the apps that Barnes & Noble has made. Let's just take a look at some of the customized experiences. Obviously, with this, you're going to be doing business with Barnes & Noble. Many people who would pick up this tablet maybe have a Nook e-reader or have dealt with Barnes & Noble in the past.
Yeah. This is the reason why you'd buy this device over another Samsung device we're showing you right now.
Right. So you do have a lot of graphic novels, manga. You have new releases. You know, it's pretty well a store that's optimized for this tablet. So kind of give you a sense on what the retail experience is like. So you can download free samples, books that, you know, customers also bought this, more in the series, reviews, etc. So that's more or less the experience that you're going to get. Oh, incidentally, I was saying that there's ebooks here, but there's also magazines as well. And there are newspapers. So you can subscribe to, you know, The Economist, Billboard, and all the other things that you want. Barnes & Noble Nook Readouts is a relatively new concept. It was first unveiled in 2015. And it gives you a preview of books that are coming out. It does interviews with authors. So it's short form, it's not long form type of articles or anything like that. So they're easy reads. But they do put the spotlight on popular authors, of course, like Mary Higgins Clark and things like that. But if you're not familiar with, say, Elizabeth George, you can kind of read an interview with her promoting the new book. But say if you're only interested in specific genres, you can kind of click here and remove certain genres. And if you're into just things like, say, science and tech, you can just get the science and tech stuff here. So it's pretty interesting. And, you know, I was kind of worried that when Barnes & Noble first announced this, that it wouldn't be updated very often, it wouldn't be curated. But Barnes & Noble's actually doing a pretty good job at sort of maintaining that. So this is the main sort of screen here. Shopping and all that jazz.
This will be the recent stuff in your own library after you sign into your account.
Yep. So there's free reads here. readouts. This is pretty well like your all-in-one destination. So let's check out our current read. So this is a book that we're sort of in the process of reading now.
So because this is a tablet and it's not an e-reader, you get these super fancy page curls. It's fully movable, just like you'd be grabbing a real page. You can tap in the center, and this brings up a lot of different options. It being a tablet, you're not bound by certain restrictions. You have live updating text. You have line spacing, margins, justification, left, right, or center. You have its brightness settings. So you can turn the brightness up and down on the screen, which is basically the entire device's UI brightness. You also have different themes. It's not the fastest switching. There's no iPad in that aspect. You can use the system settings. We have everything from highlights to searches in book, define, how it already has that definition right there, and you can even do notes. So, of course, it's very responsive, it being a Samsung tablet. Samsung is very good at making tablets. They have many different options. So there's lots of options when it comes to reading, especially on a tablet.
So if you're the type of person that takes a lot of notes, there's actually a dedicated app here that will show you all of the notes that you have taken.
Oh, there's the that I just took.
Yeah. So it shows a picture of the book's cover art, as well as so show that. It'll just show one highlight, one note, but if you click on that, you can see all the highlights that you've made.
Right.
So it's useful for people that love to take notes for different reasons.
Sure.
You know what those reasons are? I don't. So there is also the main Nook settings type of thing here. Software to run firmware updates, shop and purchases. Pretty basic stuff. Many people are unaware, but Barnes & Noble actually has their own audiobook ecosystem. And I'm actually very impressed by it. They add new content all the time. It's curated very well. It's an Android app, so you can actually install it from Google Play on any Android smartphone or tablet. But I think it really shines here on Barnes & Noble's own hardware. So you can actually listen to samples by just clicking the button.
Penguin Random House Audio presents Curious Minds, a Night and Moon novel by Janet Ivanovich and Fief Sutton. Read for you by Lorelei King.
So it's free sample, obviously, but you could buy it. Audiobooks traditionally are more expensive than ebooks, so just so you're aware of it.
There's a lot more production cost involved in making an audiobook, like renting a studio, hiring famous people even to read it, and just going through a whole production, whereas an ebook can just be literally almost just taken a picture of and redistributed.
Yeah, audiobooks are actually very interesting. They have what's known as billable hours. So each hour will cost anywhere between $150 to $350.
Right.
And the average audiobook will take about 15 to 30 hours. And the reason why audiobooks are so expensive is because they're not as popular as ebooks. There's not a ton of people buying them, so they have to charge more, so less sales will actually bring in enough money to cover all the costs, as well as make a profit on it.
Yes.
So I think all in all, this tablet is a compelling buy. It's $139 at any of the 600 bookstores that Barnes & Noble operates.
And right now in August, if you have any proof that you have or have purchased any Nook device, you actually get $40 off. So note that right now too.
Yeah, you don't actually have to trade your
No,
device.
it's not a trade-in.
You can just bring in a Nook and say, hey, I bought this in the past, and
Yep.
they'll give it to you for
That's it.
$99.
Yep.
So that's very solid. What I think I like the most about buying this as opposed to just the Samsung branded tablet is that if you want to play with it before you buy it, it's walking into any Barnes & Noble store. If you have any problems with it, you just go to your Barnes & Noble store, they'll troubleshoot it there, and if it's broken, they'll toss you a new one.
There you go.
So it's respectable like that. It's not like buying something from Amazon where if you have a problem, you have to pay the postage yourself and send it back to wherever you bought it from.
Exactly.
Trying to get a new one. this is why I think Barnes & Noble's been somewhat successful selling Samsung branded tablets with their own Nook apps in it. Speaking of Nook apps, that's why you're buying this tablet as opposed to just a generic Samsung tablet. It has tons of apps that Barnes & Noble has made themselves for the last few generations of Samsung branded tablets. So they're polished, they're refined, the e-reading experience is very solid, and it doesn't have a ton of bloatware. And that's a big thing with me. Is for GoodEreader.com and a review of the new Samsung Galaxy A Nook. My name is Michael.
This is Peter.
Everybody take care.